Welcome to the world of high-stakes negotiation, where every word counts and the stakes couldn't be higher. Did you know that 70% of managers attribute their most crucial business failures to ineffective negotiation strategies? It's a startling statistic that highlights the critical need for adept negotiation skills in leadership. In this series, Leaders at the Bargaining Table, 6 negotiation tactics that deliver results, we're diving deep into the lesser-known strategies that transform good leaders into great negotiators. From the surprising power of silence to the strategic management of emotions, we'll explore tactics that go beyond the conventional wisdom of compromise. Are you ready to uncover the secrets to securing a win-win deal, or how a simple pause can turn the tide in your favor? Join us as we reveal the subtle arts of persuasive listening, chessboard strategies, and much more. By the end of this series, you'll not only understand what it takes to lead successfully at the bargaining table but also how to implement these strategies effectively. Prepare to change the way you negotiate forever. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Art of Persuasive Listening in the High-Stakes World of Leadership and Negotiation. Persuasive listening is not just a skill, it's an art. Often, we think of negotiation as all about speaking, but the true power lies in listening. By focusing on what the other party is saying, leaders can uncover underlying needs and leverage them to their advantage. Imagine sitting at a negotiation table where instead of plotting your next counterargument, you intently listen. This approach might seem passive, but it's anything but that. It's about understanding the why behind the what. As Simon Sinek famously said, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. But how does this translate into results? Studies show that negotiations led by individuals who practice active listening are 40% more likely to result in a better deal for all parties involved. This isn't just about hearing words, it's about comprehending the full message, both spoken and unspoken. Leaders who master persuasive listening use a simple yet effective technique. They paraphrase what the other person has said. This does two things. It shows that you are listening and it clarifies any misunderstandings immediately. "Let me make sure I understand what you're saying," is a phrase that can transform an entire conversation. This skill also involves paying attention to nonverbal cues. About 55% of our communication is nonverbal. Thus, a slight change in body language or tone can give you insights into the other person's true feelings or intentions. Being attuned to these signals allows leaders to navigate the negotiation with more empathy and precision. Persuasive listening can change the game because it builds trust. When people feel heard, they are more open to collaborating and finding mutual solutions. This is the bedrock of successful negotiations. By the end, both parties feel validated and, more importantly, committed to the agreed outcomes. Chapter 2. Chessboard strategy. Negotiation is less about chance and more about strategy, much like a game of chess. Every move you make on the bargaining table should be deliberate and calculated. The best leaders think of negotiation as a chessboard where every decision counts, and foresight is key. What sets apart a skilled negotiator? It's the ability to think several moves ahead. This means not just reacting to the present situation, but also anticipating the future reactions of the other party. As a leader, your strategy should not only address immediate goals but also consider long-term implications. For example, consider a study that analyzed over 1,000 business negotiations. It found that negotiators who entered discussions with a clear, adaptable strategy were 70% more successful in achieving their objectives than those who didn't. Strategy matters, and like chess, the more you practice, the better you become. One effective tactic is positioning your demands strategically. Start with smaller requests and gradually escalate to more significant ones. This approach, often called the foot in the door technique, increases the likelihood of agreement on larger issues later on. But it's not just about asking, it's about offering. Strategic concessions can be a powerful tool. By willingly giving something up, you create a sense of reciprocity. However, the key is to make these concessions gradually and always in exchange for something of equal or greater value. Lastly, always keep your endgame in mind. Every move at the negotiation table should bring you closer to your ultimate goal. A good leader knows that winning in negotiation isn't about defeating the opponent, it's about achieving your goals while maintaining strong relationships. In both persuasive listening and chessboard strategy, the goal is clear. Understand your opponent, plan your moves, and stay focused on the big picture. This approach not only yields better results but also builds respect and rapport that last well beyond the negotiation table. Chapter 3. The power of silence. Silence is a negotiation tool that is often underestimated. It's not about being quiet, it's about using pauses strategically to your advantage. In a world where everyone is quick to speak, silence can speak volumes. Think about this. Research indicates that when negotiators use deliberate pauses after a counterpart's points, they gain more concessions. The reason? Silence can create a subtle pressure that prompts the other party to keep talking, often revealing more than they intended or offering better terms. Leaders who use silence effectively allow their counterparts to fill the void. This tactic can lead to insights about the other party's priorities and concerns. It's like giving them the stage to unveil their hidden cards without them even realizing it. Using silence is also about controlling the pace of the conversation. When you slow down the discussion, you get time to think. This helps you avoid making hasty decisions that you might regret later. It's like pressing the pause button to analyze your next move carefully. Another benefit of silence is that it can help de-escalate tension. In heated discussions, a well-timed pause can calm nerves and reset the tone of the dialogue. It shows you're composed and in control, traits that command respect in any negotiation. So next time you're at the bargaining table, remember that silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful tool that, when used correctly, can tip the scales in your favor. As the old saying goes, silence is not only golden, it can be strategically brilliant. Chapter 4. Emotional Intelligence at Play. Emotional intelligence, is a game changer in leadership and negotiation. It's about more than just managing your own emotions. It's about understanding and influencing the emotions of others. Leaders with high A are adept at reading the room. They can sense the mood, dynamics, and undercurrents, adjusting their strategies accordingly. This ability is crucial, especially in negotiations where stakes and tensions are high. Statistics show that negotiators who exhibit high emotional intelligence achieve better outcomes. This is because A helps in building rapport, a critical element in creating a collaborative atmosphere. When people feel connected and understood, they are more likely to open up and agree on mutual solutions. One effective A strategy is mirroring the emotions and actions of your counterpart. This doesn't mean copying them but rather aligning with their feelings and responses. For instance, if they lean back, you might do the same. This subconsciously builds a connection, making them feel more at ease and cooperative. Leaders also use their A to manage conflicts during negotiations. Instead of reacting defensively to aggressive tactics, they remain calm, which often diffuses potential arguments. They know that staying composed keeps the negotiation on track and productive. Moreover, leaders who harness A are skilled at deploying empathy strategically. They acknowledge the other party's concerns and validate them without necessarily agreeing. This approach not only smooths negotiations but also enhances long-term relationships. Remember, emotional intelligence in negotiation isn't just about being nice. It's about being strategically aware of emotions to guide interactions towards a successful conclusion. As Daniel Goleman puts it, A isn't a luxury you can dispense with in tough times. It's a basic tool that, deployed with finesse, is the key to professional success. Chapter 5. The win-win paradox. The idea of a win-win outcome sounds ideal, but it's often misunderstood. In negotiation, a win-win doesn't necessarily mean equal compromise. It means all parties leave feeling successful. Leaders who master this concept don't just aim for an agreement, they aim for satisfaction. A key strategy in achieving a win-win is to expand the pie, not just divide it. Innovative negotiators look for ways to increase value mutually. For example, rather than slicing benefits to fit both parties, they explore additional opportunities that could benefit everyone involved. Statistics from negotiation research suggest that when negotiators focus on mutual gains, they're 33% more likely to achieve a successful outcome. This approach requires understanding what the other party truly values, which might not always be obvious. Leaders skilled in creating win-win situations often use the interest-based negotiation approach. This involves identifying the underlying interests of both sides rather than sticking rigidly to stated positions. For instance, if two departments are fighting over budget allocation, understanding their underlying goals can lead to a solution that satisfies both, like joint funding for a shared resource. Another effective method is the if-then technique. Negotiators use this to propose conditional agreements that safeguard interests while advancing mutual goals. If you can commit to this delivery timeline, then we can agree on the premium pricing, is an example of how this tactic can work to ensure that both parties feel like they are winning. Remember, creating a win-win scenario isn't about being nice, it's about being strategic. It's about crafting outcomes that fulfill the needs of all parties and pave the way for future cooperation. Chapter 6. Beyond the table. The follow-up strategy. Negotiations don't end when you shake hands or sign a contract. The follow-up phase is crucial and often dictates whether the negotiated terms will be successful in practice. Effective leaders know that the real work often begins after the agreement is reached. A significant part of follow-up is ensuring clear communication of the agreement's details to all stakeholders. It's surprising how often deals fall apart simply because not everyone involved understands or agrees with the terms discussed at the negotiating table. Data shows that over 50% of agreements face challenges in implementation due to poor follow-up. This underscores the importance of monitoring and managing the post-negotiation process. Effective leaders set up check-ins and feedback loops to gauge progress and address any emerging issues promptly. One practical follow-up strategy is the use of a detailed action plan. This plan outlines who is responsible for what and by when. Setting clear timelines and expectations helps prevent misunderstandings and ensures that all parties are aligned with their roles and responsibilities. Furthermore, maintaining a positive relationship with the other party post-negotiation can turn a single successful negotiation into a long-term partnership. Regular communication, expressing appreciation for the other party's efforts, and being open to adjusting terms if circumstances change are all part of a robust follow-up strategy. Leaders who excel in negotiation view the follow-up as an extension of the negotiation process, a critical element that ensures the durability and effectiveness of the agreement. As they say, a deal is only as good as its execution.